To celebrate Memorial Day, this video will take a look at the military service that the island territories have provided to the United States. I wanted to post a video like this to honor the sacrifices of men and women from these territories who serve our country, and to honor the sacrifices that their families and communities make to support them. Sometimes the military service that the territories provide is overlooked, but when you do look at how much these islands really give, it is absolutely shocking. Some of the most patriotic Americans in the country are from the territories, and the amount they have given to this country is absolutely staggering. It's impossible to show a complete picture of how much these Americans really give, so this video will have to be an incomplete highlights reel. To start, Guam has played a key role in the defense of the United States since it came under U.S. control at the close of the Spanish-American War. Starting as a coaling station for the Navy, its strategic importance has only grown. However, the people of Guam's commitment to the United States has continually grown as well. Guam has made great sacrifices by playing this strategic role, as much of its land is used by military bases, and many of its young people choose the military as their career of choice. However, the harshest sacrifices that the people of Guam made for this country came when their island was invaded and occupied by the Japanese during World War II. This occupation was harsh and lasted from 1941 to 1944. The people of Guam were forced to learn Japanese language and culture early in the occupation, but later moved to camps in the jungles and were forced to do harsh labor for the Japanese military. It is impossible to calculate the cost of the sacrifices made by the Chamorro people during this time, and it will forever be a dark period in the history of the island. After the war, Guam continued to serve a strategic role in America's defense strategy, as it was used as a base for bombers in the Vietnam War, and later as a staging point for the evacuation of Vietnam. Today, people from Guam continue to serve in the military, and of the island's 162,896 residents, around 7,000 are military personnel, though many of those personnel are not originally from Guam, and many of Guam's young people are stationed far from their home island. Guam's next-door neighbor is the Northern Mariana Islands. However, the Northern Mariana Islands were not a part of the U.S. until the end of World War II, and does not have as long a military history with the United States as the other territories. They were the last territory to join the United States, and the most recent to be granted citizenship. But today, as part of the United States, people from the Northern Mariana Islands have served in the American military, and since 2015 have been discussing the creation of a National Guard unit for the Northern Mariana Islands. Their short history with the United States started quite explosively, however, with some of the most famous battles in the Second World War's Pacific Campaign, including the Battle of Saipan. The U.S. Virgin Islands is one of two Caribbean territories and has seen many of its residents join the military to fight in America's wars. The territory has a National Guard unit and an Air National Guard unit, which are in place partly to play a role in disaster relief, which they did after Hurricane Maria. Like in the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico's National Guard exists to help with disaster relief and has played a big role in the ongoing relief efforts to rebuild the island after Hurricane Maria. The earliest example of Puerto Ricans aiding America in achieving military objectives was when Puerto Ricans serving in the Spanish military campaigned against the British during the American Revolution. However, it wouldn't be until the Spanish-American War that Puerto Rico would become part of the United States. In 1917, Puerto Ricans were granted citizenship, and from then on served as a regular part of the American military. The first Hispanic admiral in the U.S. Navy and the first Hispanic general in the Marine Corps both came from Puerto Rico, along with plenty of other prominent military leaders. The island was also the home of the famous Buccaneers. The Buccaneers were the Army's 65th Infantry Regiment and was one of the nation's most heroic military units through a turbulent time in American history. As a segregated regiment in World War II, they were deployed to Europe, fighting gallantly and being decorated accordingly. They received a staggering 90 Purple Hearts 2 Silver Stars, and 1 Distinguished Service Cross, which is the second highest award in the American Armed Forces for bravery in combat, second only to the Medal of Honor. However, the unit is best known for its service in Korea. In 1950, the unit fought both the North Korean Regular Army and guerrilla fighters, earning the unit 5 Silver Stars for gallantry in a period of just over a month. Even General MacArthur singled them out as an exceptional unit, saying, "The unit's men are showing magnificent ability and courage in field operations. They are a credit to Puerto Rico, and I am proud to have them in my command." By the end of 1950, the unit would go on to have a total of 11 men receive the Silver Star, while suffering 130 casualties. The honors and deaths continued to rise as they fought on. After a full year of fighting since their arrival in Korea, the unit had suffered 1,510 battle casualties, but received 4 Distinguished Service Crosses, 125 Silver Stars, and more direct praise from MacArthur himself. Tragically, this brave unit fell victim to the rampant racism of the time, while simultaneously being under the thumb of Chinese artillery fire. They suffered 542 casualties while trying to hold a position that was indefensible. In response to them retreating, they were ordered to shave their mustaches until they could prove their manhood, and were told to return to their position. Given the choice between certain death and insubordination against racist commanders, they chose to disobey their suicide orders. 123 Puerto Rican personnel were court-martialed and sent to jail. However, it was clear that this move had nothing to do with the character of the men of the 65th, but rather was prompted by racism among the officers who had court-martialed them. The Secretary of the Army moved quickly to pardon all of the men involved, and they were eventually given honorable discharges. Puerto Rico's 65th Infantry is a testament to the character of our nation's veterans and is an example of how remarkably military personnel from the territories have served our country. Finally, there's American Samoa. Despite American Samoa being about 4,500 miles from the mainland United States, and arguably being one of the most disenfranchised communities in the United States, this island has an inspiring legacy of patriotism and military service. Astonishingly, American Samoa has the highest rate of military service for any state or territory in the country, and has the #1 top performing recruiting station in the country. This means that American Samoa gives a larger share of their people to the military than any other state or territory, giving even more than what we may think of as the most patriotic states. This legacy of service is unparalleled and worthy of recognition. Due to American Samoa's uncommonly high rate of service, it also suffered the most casualties per capita in Iraq of any state or territory. This is an enormous sacrifice, especially for such a small territory. Having lost so many of their people who lay down their lives protecting our freedom, the people of American Samoa understand deeply what it means to serve this country. Patriots from American Samoa and all of the U.S. territories have made many sacrifices for the security of this nation. This video could never have hoped to show the full scope of the military service provided by people from the territories. But hopefully, this Memorial Day, we can all spare a thought for our veterans from the territories. Moving forward, it is important to remember these heroes when we honor the veterans and do what we can to support them. Unfortunately, people who live in the U.S. territories do not have the same voting rights as Americans in the states. Many people, myself included, believe that people in the territories are entitled to the same rights as Americans in the states. If you want to learn about the issues facing Americans living in the territories, feel passionate about equal rights, or may just want to join the conversation, please subscribe to my channel. If you are a veteran with a connection to the U.S. territories, please share your story in the comment section of this video. Your story is often left untold, and I would love for you to share it. I would like to end this video by saying thank you to all of our country's veterans. Thank you for keeping us safe and for protecting our freedom. Whether you come from a territory or a state, I appreciate your service and everything our veterans provide to this nation.